Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It is writing sprint time. Oh my gosh, Zeke, please do not do that. Do not do that. I have rearranged my desk, and ever since I have, there has been this new area where I have a little acrylic drawer of all my stationery, and he keeps wanting to sit on top of it because it's right underneath the window, and I'm just like, no, you cannot. You are too heavy for it. You will make it break, and then I will be sad and you will be sad because it will break right underneath you, and you'll just be like, what the hell just happened? So please don't sit on it, okay? I'm getting like some new shelves in, and when I get the new shelves in, there will actually be a spot right underneath the window where he can lounge and sit, but it's not ready yet, okay, buddy? Like, I put the order in right before Christmas, and so they shut down for Christmas and New Year, and so the shelves are not ready, but they will be ready. You just have to wait for like, I don't know, a week or maybe 2 weeks longer. Just don't try to sit on that yet. Anyway, let's have a look at who is here. We've got Jerome here. We've got Sparker816 here. We've got Elaine here, who is going to be listening to the last of this audiobook. Nice. Who else is here? I think I got everybody. Elaine does ask, where did you get your acrylic drawer? Because I want one. Oh, let me show it to you. So, you guys see that? That one. So it's like, what I like about it is it goes landscape, right? Like a lot of the A4 acrylic drawers, like they're arranged portrait, where like you have to like you pull it out by the short side. And what I like about this one is that you pull it out by the long side, because I'm just like, I don't have a lot of desk depth, so I would like to have it sideways. Yeah, the only place I found it was Officeworks, I think, for $30, and it's not gonna lie, it's pretty good. And can you see this if I do this? So like the top section is like this little flappy hinge thing, so you can actually like have it all the way open and just like all your stuff in there and you're reaching for it. The bottom one is just a drawer, but as you can see, like this is not like the strongest thing. So even though Zeke is not a big cat, like just 4 kilos of cat sitting on this lid just does not do it any favors. Like, not gonna lie, it was like pricey acrylic, if you know what I mean, because like there's like cheap acrylic stuff and there's pricey acrylic, and this was on like the pricey acrylic side, but I gotta say, I've been very happy with it so far. Look, Zeke, buddy, I know we're talking about the drawer, but you cannot sit on it, okay? You're gonna break it. Let's see. Oh, apparently would the flappy hinge not work? I don't know. Like, depends on what you want. The thing is, like, after I get my new shelves in, the flappy hinge will definitely not work because it is going to live tucked underneath a shelf. And yeah, okay, we're just gonna sit in front of the camera, guys. Let's see. Jerome says the aspect ratio on your chat box changed. The text shows up a little squished or maybe vertically elong. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me either. I redid the overlays, and so I will look into that later. I mean, a cat on the fluffy hinge would not work. Yeah, I don't know what to do about this guy. Seriously, he's Nobody can see your face, Zeke. Nobody can see my face either. Jim is also here. Welcome, Jim. All right, enough chit chat. I am going to put 2 hours on the clock, and we are gonna get some stuff done. I don't know what I'm getting done this morning. I think, oh no, I do know what I'm getting done. I have an email to my printer that I need to write, so that is going to be my goal. Write the printer email, and then I'm sure there's like a bunch of other emails that I need to write. So 2 hours, guys. Let's go. guys going? I have done a complete grab bag of stuff this sprint, so I did not end up doing my printer email because I don't know, I have anxiety every single time. I'm like, I need to email my printer, which I shouldn't because my contact there is just a lovely person, but I don't know, it's new, it's scary, and so every single time I have to do it, I'm just like, I don't know, maybe I'll procrastinate some more, but I really need to stop procrastinating on this because time is ticking. So I am going to work on it next sprint, and if it's the only thing I do next sprint, that is fine. I will, you know, work up my courage to do it. But this sprint, what I did get done was a whole grab bag of random Kickstarter stuff. So yesterday I finished handwriting all of my Kickstarter letters, and so I dropped them off at the post office. The post office is still not taking anything going to Canada, so it's very annoying because I just kind of like, they're sitting on my desk and they're taking up mental and physical and visual space, and I want to like get them off my desk so I don't have to think about it. But the post office is not taking anything going to Canada because, you know, they have a massive backlog to work through from the Canadian postal office strike. So I'm a bit like, okay, I guess I'll just like go back every week and check whether they're taking mail to Canada. But until then, I can't do anything about these letters sitting here because they're just taking up room. So I don't know, like they're just, it's annoying me, but it's fine. Otherwise, I have messaged all of my Kickstarter backers on Kickstarter to let them know that their letters are coming and to look out for it. And then I have also imported all of the people who signed up for my mailing list in their Kickstarter backer survey. And part of me is like, I don't know, maybe I should have done it like earlier, like right after the Kickstarter finished, like while it was kind of fresh in their minds, but I was busy with other stuff, so I didn't get to do it. So I have now done it, and I think I have correctly set up the automation, so it's just like they just get the one email from me of like, hey, just as a reminder, you said you wanted to sign up, can you please click this button to confirm that you actually really do want to sign up, and if you change your mind, like that's also cool. But like it also has like a here's how to get your digital rewards thing in the back of the email, because what has really perplexed me, and I wasn't expecting this because I don't know, like I'm just like, if I get a free ebook, I'm like, I'm gonna download that immediately because I would like my free ebook. And so for all of the people who backed during the campaign and who backed at like a physical tier, they all got the ebooks for free. And as I've been going through and like, you know, doing the individual letters, I was like checking just to see who's downloaded their ebooks, and like a surprising number of people haven't downloaded them. And I'm just like, I cannot tell whether it is because you missed the email in your inbox and therefore that's why you didn't you know, download your ebooks, or whether it's because they don't care about the ebooks and they plan to read the books when they get the physical copy. But then at the same time, I'm like, you're not going to get your physical copy for ages. So like, if you back to Kickstarter, which, you know, the reward is books, wouldn't you want the digital rewards anyway? I don't know. Maybe people don't care about ebooks. I mean, I gotta say, I prefer reading in paper, like when I really want to get through something. But like, you know, if I get an ebook, I'm gonna download it. But like, people have it, and I'm just like in this really weird spot where I'm just like, well, I don't want anybody to think that like I haven't delivered digital rewards, but you know, if you don't download it, like there's not much I can do to make you download it. Like I cannot forcibly force you to load it on your computer. But I guess I mean, technically, like I have all the documentation to be like, yeah, I like sent it to you and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe this is why people like BookFunnel, because with BookFunnel, like it's automatically loaded to whatever email they nominate. I still don't really know how that works if you haven't created a BookFunnel account, because like, you know, how does that work? Because if BookFunnel doesn't have an account, you would obviously have to log in with your email, but then you don't have a password associated with that. So then it's reliant on I guess you being the only one who knows the email that you nominated for your digital rewards, then I get, yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, in theory, like if my friend knew what my book funnel email was or what the email I put for my book funnel rewards, like could they just put my email in and then they would, you know, they would be the one who's like getting all the instructions on how to set up the book funnel account. So like, part of me is just like, well, that sounds a bit, yeah, I don't know. Like maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe it's not like such a big deal. But anyway, let's have a look at how you guys are going. Roderick says, reread 2 chapters for the final time and edited 625 words. Yay, that's exciting. Elaine, meanwhile, only has an hour left in the audiobook for proofing, which is awesome. Elaine, in relation to the digital reward, says, I am not a fantasy reader. Yeah, like, thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. But I guess maybe that is the reason. Like, maybe like a lot of people, like in their backer survey, like I was really surprised by this, right? And at some point when I do my Kickstarter video, I will like broadly share the findings that I got in my Kickstarter backer surveys. But like a lot of people were just like, you seem like a cool person and this seems like a cool project. And I just wanted to support. And it's really hard to tell from some of those responses of like whether or not they actually care about the rewards or whether they're just like, you know, I just want to support the project and I'm kind of like ambivalent about whether or not I get my rewards. I don't know. It's really hard to tell. There's like a few where I can kind of tell that like, oh, they will probably want to actually read the story because like they say something like, you know, I like fantasy as a genre or I like this and that. But there are a whole lot of other people that like they like it literally is just about the support and not really about the story. And I'm just like this is cool. This is like a different I don't know what the word is for it. It's like I want to say like target market, but it's not. I mean, it's not really a target market, right? Like, cause they don't fundamentally care about the books. They're there to just support authors, in which case it's kind of almost like, well, you're not marketing to them in the way that you would usually market your books, because usually the way you would market your books is you'd be like, okay, like this is how I am the same / different to what you normally see in the genre. But like if they don't care about the genre and it's just more about like the, you know, you as a creator, person, indie author, like then that's totally different. And like I'm also a bit like, I don't think you would want to structure a whole Kickstarter campaign around that. Like that would be weird and also not attract like the core audience, which I feel is there on Kickstarter. But it's just, yeah, it's been interesting. Roderick says, I waited to download so that I could download the full color map. Yeah, I had a feeling that a lot of people were waiting for the map to actually download it. And like in hindsight, right, because like I was so worried about this GPSR stuff, like I probably didn't need to like send it out super early. And also like I honestly was expecting the map before I actually sent it out like in November, because like but like it's just, I think with the end of the year my map artist was running late, and so that's why the map came like a bit later than I expected. But in theory, like had everything lined up, the first time the ebooks got sent out, like would have actually had the maps in them. Roderick also says maybe plenty of people have a huge TBR list. Yeah, I mean I know that, right? But like in my head, right, like the TBR is distinct from like pile of books that I own, right? Like I own tons and I really should do this inventory, right? Like I have tons of books in my house that I physically possess, and many more on my e-readers. But like to me, it's like that's a separate list from my TBR, right? Like, and to be honest, I'm not like the most organized reader in the world. Like I know lots of people are setting reading goals and things like that right now, and I'm just like, I'm a very mood reader, and so I just kind of like read whatever. And so there are books that I own that have like, you know, existed in my possession for years and years and I still haven't read them, which is really bad. Especially like the creative books that I bought like from bargain bookstores like during high school, which have recently resurfaced because my parents dumped like all my stuff that has been at their house at my place because they've now downsized and they no longer have the giant house and therefore no longer have the space to store all my crap. And so something I want to do this year is like actually want to go through those and clear them out. And I don't know. I don't know. Like there are some days where I look at the pile, I'm like, it's such a big pile. I don't know. Maybe I should do a first chapter culling of all of those books. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Roderick says, also you can forcibly oh my gosh. Yeah, that is true. I should have qualified my comment with like, there's no legal forcible way to download stuff to computer. Jim is here. Oh my gosh, did I miss Jim coming in? Hello Jim, welcome. And says did good, nice. Elaine says I did download everything though, and also I do want to read the boat ride. I apologize in advance because like basically the entire second book is basically like it's like I want to say 85% like on a ship. And like maybe 15% like not on a ship, and I just I in hindsight I'm not really sure that was a good move. And also I don't know what this means for book 4 because I have had feedback from beta readers who have made it through the whole book because I was like, what should I do for book 3, like this or that, and like I think we've ended up at like the storyline that picks up from the end of book 2 is gonna now be book 4, and they were all like, yeah, I think it really depends on how much like ship time there is, because I'm not sure I want to spend like a whole nother book on a ship, because there was a lot of time spent on the ship. Roger says if you downloaded before January the 1st, pay attention to chapter 8 and find the error. Yeah, I think I fixed that everywhere, although it's kind of hard to tell. And like with the stuff that's gone out via DDD, right, like not that I get many wide downloads at all, it's just it's really hard to figure out like what version of the file that they've got, but I think pretty much it's updated everywhere, so I don't know. Roderick says the error is still hard to spot, by the way, because it's on completely different pages, and the book culling sounds like a fun live stream activity, like a blurbening but different. And also so far I like the book stuff. Aw, thank you. I don't know, like there's been other people who have done like the first chapter culling. They've done like YouTube videos on it, like some people have done like Twitter threads on it. I don't know if I would like to do that, mainly because like just looking at what they've been doing, like it's a lot of work. Like doing those things are like, it's like a lot of work, especially like the folks who do really thoughtful threads and video posts around that, because they try to emphasize like, okay, this book didn't work for me, but like if you know, like if you're like a such and such reader, like then maybe it will work for you. And some people do it in a way where it's like the books that they TBR from it, like they disclose what title it is, and then the books that they don't, like they just kind of keep it anonymous. And I don't know, like generally speaking, I don't tend to talk publicly about the books that I DNF unless like, yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky thing, right? Like I would have less of a problem with it if there was like kind of a cleaner way to do it. But like I feel like when you're a published author and you're reading in your genre, like there's kind of a whole bunch of unspoken rules about what you do and don't say publicly about like your personal likes and dislikes as a reader, right? Like because like I don't know, like the whole authors and reviewer spaces thing, like it gets so complicated. And some people have been able to like, I know some authors like they, you know, run like a booktube channel, or they are book reviewers in and of themselves, and like they seem to have found like a nice balance in how they do that. But like I don't, right? Like so I always feel like if I'm publicly reviewing a book, right, and like my pen name is attached to it, I always feel like it's kind of like an extension of like giving someone's book a blurb, if that makes sense, right? And I guess like maybe that works differently for indie versus trad, like because I know trad authors, like some of them like don't do reviews. Like I think Brandon Sanderson said like he has a very firm policy on what he does and doesn't do in terms of like reviews on like Goodreads and stuff. But I think if you watch him in some of like his live streams where he's like, it's just what is it called, like his podcast Intentionally Blank, where he's like just chatting with Dan, what is his, Dan Wells, and like they're just, you know, chatting, and he's like sitting there signing like 50,000 tip-ins for his leather bounce. Like he will talk about like books, but even then, like you know, he's like very careful like in like how he talks about them. So yeah. Elaine says, yeah, I don't discuss other people's books publicly at all, but that's me. Yeah, like so the books that I tend to publicly discuss are books that like I really really like, right? Like or books where the author is a big enough name that like I can be frank, like politically frank, but like quite frank about how I feel about the book, and know that me being frank about that book is not, you know, going to tank their ability to sell books. And then you get into the whole argument of like whether or not like negative reviews like do sell books. I know they do. I know some people do, but like yeah, then, you know, it's like a whole thing, and I have not figured out how to navigate it. But if you do want my opinions on books where I'm a little bit less filtered about it, I do talk about them in my newsletter. But even then, like in my newsletter, I'm like, there are books where I've read it and I'm just like, oh, that was not a good, like it was really not a good book. Like and those like I still will not put in my newsletter. But like here's the thing, right? Like, you know how like you get suspicious if a book only has 5-star reviews, or like if a, you know, somebody's reviewing is like always just constantly raving about books. Like there is a bell curve, right? Like it's not possible for everything to be like the bestest, most awesome book ever that just completely blows you away and, you know, lives in your head rent free. Like that's just law of averages, right? That's not possible. So I always feel like in order for my raves about the books that I really truly do love, like I feel like it needs to be balanced by more opinions which are not necessarily raves, and they're also not necessarily like, I hate this book so much kind of thing, right? Like that's how I personally feel. Like I get very skeptical of somebody who recommends books when like every single recommendation that they make is just, it's not like it only talks up the thing that they liked about the books, and it doesn't, you know, mention the things which are not perfect about the books or which didn't work for them, because like I'm just like, no book is perfect. Although I don't know, like I feel like some authors for me put out like pretty close to perfect books. Like not perfect, not absolutely perfect books, but like sometimes I'm just like, I'm very jealous because like that is to me a close to perfect book. And then like sometimes I question myself, like maybe it's just I like the book too much to like see its flaws, or like I'm kind of like The Spear Cuts Through the Water. The Spear Cuts Through Water is, I think, a really good example, because it's a book that I loved. Like within the first 2 pages of reading that book, I'm like, this is going to be one of my new favorite reads. Like The Spear Cuts Through Water, it's fantastic. Just so good. And I think a lot of my reaction is like, I like the prose style. I like the very experimental nature of how it is written. I like the themes and like all of that. I like, and there's a lot of like context from like who the writer is and what their cultural background is, like that overlaps with mine, where like there's a lot of things where like in the way that the story is told and what the story is about, I'm just like, I get it. Like this is my kind of book, right? But then like I will watch, say, Unresolved Textual Tension, who is like one of my favorite book podcasts, because like they do like really, really in-depth dives into books and like really robust analysis beyond what you see from most like booktubers and stuff like that. Like because 3 of them like all have English degrees and stuff. Like they were kind of very split on it. And even like the person who did really like The Spear Cuts Through Water, like, they had like a lot of critiques of the book. And like, you know, if before I listened to their podcast, I would have just been like, what are you talking about? Like perfect book, right? Not perfect. But like a lot of their critiques, like for me, like I felt like were absolutely on point. Like don't get me wrong, like I normally think their opinions are they track quite well, and I agree with a lot of them, but like when I listened to like the review on I'm With Her, I was just like, oh my gosh, you guys just completely missed the point. Like that is not what you guys thought the book was about, was not really what the book was about. It'll be interesting to see if they read Heavenly Tyrant, which is also on my TBR for this year. I want to read it. I'm just like in the back of the queue for it at my library. And so it'll be interesting to see if they do a follow-up, because like they absolutely hated Iron Widow. And I liked Iron Widow, but I think it was, again, it was like a place of like, this is the cultural understanding I have, and this is how I read the book, as like what the author was really trying to do with it, and like they just, it was a layout that they missed. So I don't know, it's very variable. Roderick says, yeah, especially since the internet always remembers everything, so we'll keep the book reads for the Paper Tiger meetup whenever it happens. Oh my gosh, I really do want to do a meetup like one day. I don't know when, I don't know how we'll organize it. Elaine also says, also the more books I write, the more forgiving I am of other authors. That is so true. That is so true. Yusashi is the same, because like I looking back at like how harsh I was on G.R.R. Martin for like not, you know, being slow on the Windsor Winter. I'm just like, I get it. Like sequels are really hard. I don't want to imagine how hard it is like trying to write the Windsor Winter. Like it's really hard, and I'm just like, I feel a lot of sympathy. I don't know if he's gonna get it done, but like I do genuinely believe now that he is trying, especially as I have now realized that I write like in a very similar way to where he is on the spectrum of like plotter to pantser, right? Elaine says, one of my favorite reviewers in one of my genres never gives star ratings, just written reviews on Instagram. She's awesome. Yeah, like that's honestly the way that Jenny Wirtz does it as well. So she doesn't give star ratings, but like she does read and review a lot of indie books, like a lot of indie books. I don't know how Jenny Wirtz does all this stuff. She's just like the one person in the world like where I sit and I think about it, and I'm just like, now pretty sure Jenny Wirtz is just superhuman, because she can do everything. She can paint, she does her own covers, she can write, like she can plot, like and it's just like, you know how like with some authors you're just like, oh, like they're very good at like this and this, but like they're not so great at that. And for me, when I read a Jenny Wirtz book, I'm just like, she can do everything. She can do characters, she can do plot, she can do world building, she can do prose, she can do everything. So if you've never read Jenny Wirtz before, and if you do like prose that is on the dense and like elaborate side of things, like try some Jenny Wirtz. Like she writes some very good books. If you don't want to get into like an 11 book epic fantasy saga, like you can try her standalone. She's got two. One is called The Master of Whitestorm, and the other one is called To Ride Hell's Chasm, and they're both very good. So you can try some of her standalone just to see if you get on with the prose style. And then if you do, then I would highly recommend getting into The Wars of Light and Shadow, the first book of which is Curse of the Mist Race, because it's so great. It's so great. Like everybody keeps talking about, like, you know, obviously Stormlight Archive is taking up all the airtime right now because Brandon Sanderson's come out with like the 5th book, and like I'm just gonna say like that the two works are not on the same level. Like they're not. They're like burgers versus like, you know, fine dining. Let's say that's gonna be the comparison that I use. Like, and not to take away from like all of the positives of the Stormlight Archive, but like they're not on the same level. That is all. Anyway, oh my gosh, I've been ranting so much. Okay, we are going to take a 5-minute break. I know we're supposed to have started Sprint 2, but we're going to take a 5-minute break because I want to get a second cup of tea. And after we got my second cup of tea, we shall be back over on Sprint 2 in about 5 minutes, where we are going to do some more writing together. I'm actually going to go email my printer. All right, bye guys. I'll see you over on Sprint 2 in 5. Bye.